Listo, parcero. Tiro seco.
Listo, listo, vámonos de bueno entonces. Now, in this first part of the test, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. First, I'd like to ask some questions about your family. Do you have a large or a small family?
My family is smart. I have an 8 years old boy named Christopher and my wife Karina.
How much time do you spend with the members of your family?
With my family once a year for reasons of distance.
Well, what sort of things do you like to do together?
With my family, I like going to the movies, swimming pool, and traveling.
Perfect. Now, let's move on to talk about food. What kind of food do you like?
I like food that contains a lot of animal protein.
Perfect. What are some of the typical foods in your country?
Typical Colombian foods are sancocho, tamales, rice con chicken, paisa, among others.
In your country, do men or women have the main responsibility for cooking?
In Colombia, women are mainly responsible for the kitchen. However, the culture has changed and it is evident that the responsibility is shared.
Let's talk about where you live. Tell me about the house or apartment you live in.
My apartment is small. It has two bedrooms, a bathroom, a kitchen, a living room, and is 64 square meters.
What are some of the bad things about living there?
It's not bad. On the contrary, I lie in very friendly social environment.
Well, what kind of place would you like to have in the future?
I would like to live a big plot where I am surrounded by nature.
Perfect. Now, I'm going to give you a topic and I would like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you talk, you will have 1 minute to think about what you are going to say, and you can make notes if you wish. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, understand.
Okay, here are some paper and a pencil to make notes. Here is your topic. I'd like you to describe something you on which is very important to you. Describe a teacher who has influenced you in your education. You should say where you meet them, what subject they taught, and what was special about them. I'll explain why is the person influenced you so much.
Okay. Mm, in high school, I met a math teacher named Carlos Bustamante, who always mentored the patience and perseverance. Is the path to success. It was something he studied in his day before starting class. This influenced me a lot in my life to continue with my goals.
Well, follow up questions. Do other people you know remember this teacher?
Yes, Of course, these teachers have developed an empathy with the student in the classroom, which won many people his affection.
Perfect. Do you still see this teacher?
I haven't seen him since I got out of high school.
Perfect. We've been talking about a teacher who has influenced you in your education. And I like to ask you some questions unrelated to this. First, what look at development is education. Has education in the country changed in the last 10 years?
Has no change in the last 10 years. The methodology remains the same.
What change do you think will happen in the future?
In the future, there could be changes such as competency-based learning, a more autonomous learning, and virtual methodologies.
Well, what change would you recommend to improve the education system?
Uh, I would recommend more of an education based of virtual methodology and autonomous learning.
Well, now let's look at the national education system. How the ambitions of current school leaders compare with those of the previous generations?
Uh, so, the big difference is based on the fact that in the past there were not as many technologies as there are today. So today you can find everything of the internet.
Well, what role do you think extracurricular activities play in education?
They play a very important role, especially collaborative work, which helps people to resolve conflicts.
What is the role of the school in modern society?
The role of the school in society is fundamental to form better people and reinforce the principles and values that come from home. In addition to the knowledge they can provide is essential.
Well done, thank you, Mr. Rector. That is the end of the speaking test for IELTS.
Okay, thank you.